The Russian General Staff is turning troops into kamikaze units. Influential officers are removed from the army. Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov has been given the green light for personnel purges in the army. Not only Prigozhin's accomplices are being removed, but also top officers with their own opinions. Because, as the Soviet proverb says, an officer must not think, he must perform, and it is more relevant than ever. Taking advantage of the rebellion of the Wagner Group, Gerasimov and Shoigu are taking a big scythe to weed out detachments of the armed forces, especially focusing on those who supported Prigozhin. Only officially, about 30 high-ranking officers are on the way out, 13 of them have been detained for questioning, and about 15 more have been suspended or dismissed. The former commander of the occupation group, General Surovikin, was allegedly privy to the plans for the uprising. The same accusations have been voiced against his deputy and another general. All of them have been detained, and are now suspended from their official duties and are under surveillance. Among those detained is former Colonel General Mikhail Mizintsev. With the help of Putin's cook, he served as Deputy Defense Minister until recently, and after his scandalous resignation he joined the Wagners. The Russian General Staff is also getting rid of top officers who went against the system and allow themselves to think rather than execute. The most striking case is the dismissal of Major General Ivan Popov, commander of the 58th Air Defense Army. Popov actually accused Gerasimov of betraying the army's interests. He spoke publicly about the problems of the Russian army in the southern direction, the occupants' lack of counter-battery warfare means, artillery reconnaissance posts, significant losses of Russians from the fire of Ukrainian artillery, and so on. My other video was devoted to this, and if you haven't watched it, I recommend it. Defense Minister Shoigu dismissed me because of the disclosure of various problems in the Russian army, which posed a threat to the Russian command, Popov said, pathos equating himself to the leader of the uprising, calling himself Spartacus, that's his call sign, and his subordinates gladiators. Popov is not part of Prigozhin's entourage, but an invisible hand is spinning the general according to a similar scenario as Putin's cook. The general smeared the chief of the general staff with all the impurities of war, and called on the Kremlin to fire Gerasimov. His appeals have been circulated all over the Russian internet, and he now looks like a patriot defender, against the backdrop of the office-bound Gerasimov. Popov is not the only one from whom they are constructing a people's favorite, a truth-teller. Colonel General Mikhail Teplinsky has been trying to actively berate the top brass of the Defense Ministry since January. At that time, he clashed with Gerasimov over the speed of disposal of Russian paratroopers near Soledar, and he too was blacklisted as a dissenter. Gerasimov's objectives today are clear. He has been given the right to form a rigid military vertical that will carry out his orders, disregarding common sense, logistics, the rules of military science, and other nonsense. It is about turning troops into kamikaze squadrons, ready to lie recklessly on the battlefield, if ordered. This is exactly the kind of behavior of troops that the strategy of war to the last Russian implies. Instead of Prigozhin, whose story is still far from ending, they are trying to fill in the minds of Russian patriots with another character. It is not a fact that it will be exactly Popov, but in any case, this process has a producer and a scriptwriter. And heroes, to all appearances, will not be slow to appear. Well, we have to wait, while watching the Crimean Bridge and other enemy logistics collapse.